Hi everyone, welcome to the second tutorial about how to create a vaulted museum with a street context. So we'll continue by freezing the buildings object and then unfreeze the museum object. So we scroll in and then we will make a copy of this rectangle. Click copy and apply a name of glass. We'll do another copy and call it the museum base for later use. So we will now hide these two copies we just made to make things easier. With the museum object selected, go to Modify tab and apply a tessellate modifier. Select by polygon and bring down tangent value to 0 and apply iteration of 3. Apply Edit Poly modifier and then click on Polygon and select only one corner of the rectangle, and we'll actually scroll down and detach it from everything else, and we'll rename this detached object to Vault. Next, we would like to see the dimensions of this small rectangle, so we go to Utilities and then Measure. And then we see the dimension is 18.75 for the width and the length. So next we will create a box of the same dimension, but a different height. The length would be 18.75 and same for the width. And then the height would be 70. Now we would like to snap this box to this small rectangle we created. However, we can see that the pivot point is not at the center of this rectangle. To align the pivot point to the center, we go to Edit and then Transform Toolbox. And in the Transform Toolbox window, we will align the pivot to the center. So now you see it's snapped. So close it and click on the box. And then use the Align tool and then click on the rectangle. And then make sure that the X, Y, Z position are checked and then they're aligning at their pivot points. So click OK to close the window. So now it's snapped to the grid. And then we will create a fold by applying a squeeze modifier. And we'll enter a value of -0.5 and a curve value of 5. However, you see that it's actually not having the effect. So we will go back to the box and then add a number of length segments to 20 and number of width segments to 20 as well. So you now get a fold. Next, since the object is upside down, we'll apply a mirror modifier and then mirror it at the Z axis. And the option for the offset value would be the height of the box divided by 2, so it's 35. We will also like to move it down a bit, like this. So to create an array of folds, we will use the Hyperclone modifier. And since we have 8 arrays to create, so we'll enter 8 in the clone 1D column. And then the offset number would be the width of the fold, so it's 18.75. But since we mirrored it, so we'll have to enter a negative value for the X. To array in the other direction, we'll apply another Hyperclone modifier, and again we have to array 8 of them. And then the offset value would be -18.75 for Y. So now we get the structure of our museum. So click somewhere else on the viewport, and now we'll create the glass and facade for our museum. So unfreeze the glass object, and to select it, to select the glass, we will apply a edit. We will scroll down to polygons, and then scroll down to extrude and bring up the value so it just covers the openings of the museum. Click confirm, and then we will exit the selection mode by clicking on add a poly in the menu. And then see the pivot point is somewhere else not in the center. So we will go to edit again and then transform toolbox to align pivot to the center and then close the window. And now we can right click on the select and uniform scale tool and then apply a 98 value for X, 98 for Y, and then so it's just a bit offset from the default. Close the window, and now we are almost done with it. To apply a glass material, we will click M key to bring up the slate material editor and click on the physical material and drag it to the window and double click on the transparency map to bring up the transparency options and bring up the value to 0.5. Now you see there's a note here, so click on it and drag it through to the viewport and apply it to the glass. So now you see it's applied to the glass object and now it gives the transparency so you can see it through. So we're almost done. We just need to press F4 to hide all the edges to make things nice, and then unfreeze all the items we created. We would also like to hide the museum object and hide the valve objects because it's no longer useful. And we can just click on objects and change the color so to make it look better. And yeah. So now we're done with it. We can just select a better angle for your render. And that is all for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my other videos. Bye!